November elections are months away, but the process of electing leaders begins on March 23rd, when parties start the process to select candidates for the offices up for election. Some candidates announced their plans to run months ago, and others put their hat in the ring only recently. Election 2010 previews Utah Party Caucus Night. Welcome to Election 2010. I'm your host, Katie Chrysler. With me is Dean David Magleby of BYU's College of Family, Home, and Social Sciences, and Professor Kelly Patterson from BYU's Center for the Study of Elections and Democracy. Welcome.
Good to be with you, Katie.
Thank you.
First off, just tell me what a caucus is.
Caucus is a small gathering of party elites, party members who, in this case, take this first step toward nominating the candidates for the party's position.
And what happens at a caucus meeting?
Well, you've been to several.
It's the way that Utahns decide who will run for office, for the state legislature, for statewide office, and for federal office. And they elect delegates at these neighborhood meetings who in turn go to the county convention and the state convention of the respective parties. And in those meetings can determine, without a primary, depending upon how the vote is apportioned, who will run under that party's label in the general election. So they're very important. They also tend to set the tone of the party. These same delegates will write the party platform and orient the party in terms of basic issues.
Yeah, these are individuals who are party activists, very active in local politics, in their community, in their neighborhood, and it's a real opportunity for your average citizen to get involved.
So these caucus meetings, they aren't just for the activists, they're for everybody.
They are for everybody. They're open to everybody, at least in the case of the Democratic Party. In the Republican Party, you do have to be a registered member of the Republican Party to participate.
And I think the threshold is anybody who turns 18 by election day in November may turn out and participate. So high school students should be encouraged to attend their neighborhood meeting as well.
But it's normally held in a neighbor's home or the nearby school or some place that most people are familiar with. And so yeah, this is the real grassroots operation. And it's a unique system. It's both a caucus and a convention and then a primary system. Not many states have something like this like what Utah has.
All about accessibility.
Yeah.
Reporter Jacob Rascone has been following some candidates as they prepare for caucus meetings, and here are some things he found out.
Richard Martin.
If I could be one-on-one, I think with most of the delegates, I could win their vote.
And Ryan Nielsen.
As long as you're willing to work hard and get in there and get support, anyone can win.
Want to be Utah's next governor.
I'm clean. I'm a clean candidate where I haven't been encumbered by outside influences.
I can get the word out to them. And because I have what I believe is this outstanding platform.
They know they have a long way to go, and their first step is caucus night.
3,500 delegates for the state of Utah, and these are the people that make or break anybody's candidacy.
My political future and any hopes that I have are dependent on this part of the process.
It's crunch time for both candidates. They must reach out to delegates and win their pledge.
I'm meeting with different groups and organizations a lot where there are delegates present.
Well, I've already sent letters to every single one. Nice letter with my picture and a few other things in there to encourage, get their attention like that.
A lot of people don't know who I am, and that's good though. That's not a negative thing. I enjoy the opportunity to talk to them and have them get to know who I am a little bit better.
I'm going out speaking at virtually every convention I can, county convention, and then I'm out going around speaking on talk shows and other places, and then you're making commercials.
A lot of right now is phone calls and visits.
So I get my staff on, the phone calling the delegates, but it's not the same as yourself.
A lot of it is just trying to sell them on me, and why I would be a good choice.
They're essential. If you don't have that, you're going with one arm tied behind your back. You've got to have a good staff.
It's figuring out all the different people in all the different counties throughout the state who want to help and how. And so I'm telling them, here's how you can help.
You've got to have the money to get the delegates.
Peter Caroon is the Democrat running for governor. His campaign manager says even though he has no caucus challenger, they still reach out to delegates, using phone calls and visits, but also social media like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Rascone, Election 2010.
4 Republicans are now vying for the seat held in the Senate by incumbent Bob Bennett. He first won the election in 1992. The challengers include small business owners Cherilyn Eagar and Tim Bridgewater, lawyer Mike Lee, son of former BYU President Rex Lee, and former Utah Congressman Merrill Cook. These 4 all agree on one thing. They say Senator Bennett fails to represent conservative Utahns on many key issues. We interviewed each candidate on a select set of topics, including the practice known as earmarking, where legislators designate federal money for a particular place, project, or even business.
What is the argument for earmarks? You've been identified as having brought several to Utah.
Sure. Read the Constitution of the United States. And Article 1 says that the power of the purse lies with the Congress. So here is some money that's in the budget. The president, through his various departments, is prepared to spend that money on whatever the president wants. And if Congress says, no, Mr. President, we don't want you to spend it on X, we want you to spend it on Y, the Congress is exercising its constitutional authority. And those who say Congress should never do that, they're ceding the power of the purse from the Congress to the president. And I don't think my constituents want me to give up more congressional power to President Obama. I don't think that's a good idea.
What would be the impact for Utah if one of your opponents who says they wouldn't engage in earmarks were elected? What would the contrast be in the future, where you have engaged in earmarks and say you will continue to do so,
Yeah.
and they say they wouldn't do that? What would the impact be for Utah?
I can't put a specific number on it, but frankly it would be quite significant. If we had not earmarked $211 million for the courthouse in Salt Lake, President Obama would have sent that money to Los Angeles, and it would have been spent on the courthouse in Los Angeles.
Now, most earmarks today get dumped in conference. Nobody's reading them. You'll have 9,000 of them, for example, in the stimulus package that happened around the first of the year. So what's wrong is they're not going through the same process, the hearing process, the committee process.
If I hear you right, under the right procedural rules, then these earmarks or these appropriations are okay, but we need to reform the process.
No, not that they're okay, but that would be the process by which we would determine whether they're okay. And it's, you know, here's the basic question. Where is it in the Constitution that Utah should be paying for sand on a beach in Florida, and where Florida ought to be paying for a parking lot in Utah?
So would you pursue earmarks for Utah in specific?
It depends. I mean, if it's within the purview of Congress's authority, for example, to provide for the common defense is definitely one of those authorities that Congress has given. So then we have to look at the bill, if it's a defense bill, and if that earmark is germane to that bill, then we have to analyze, all right, is this something that we can afford, and is this constitutional? And that would be a very easy scrutiny, I think, to apply.
The part about earmarks that troubles me, and what I refer to when I refer to an earmark, is an appropriation that's directed at a specific state, a specific municipality or community, or a specific corporation, business. I find those troubling because I think they foster at least the appearance of corruption. And I don't think Congress needs to spend money that way, or ought to. That's exactly why I support a one-year moratorium, a one-year complete ban. Would go off the bottle completely off of all earmark spending of this sort. And over the long haul, you replace it with a system in which each and every earmark request has to be aired a full 7 days in advance of the vote on the passage of the bill. And during that time period, if any one senator raises an objection to that earmark request, then that earmark dies unless it can garner a full 60-vote supermajority within the Senate, just like any other substantive piece of legislation.